The First Law of Magic, Chapter 1, Part 8. However, that wasn't the only thing to occur in that moment. As shining armor buckled instantly, cracks appearing all across his shield center on the point of contact with the golden tech. A faint whistle could be heard coming from the mare known as Sunset Shimmer.
I've popped barriers made by ponies twice your age with half the effort. It's a quick lesson before I beat you and your mother unconscious and then murder your sister. Although the modern shield spell is designed to refract force larger than a huff, but once they go smaller, the damage done multiplies exponentially.
Time seeming to stop. Sunset's horn was alight with magic, and a second tech appeared where the first had vanished, and pausing mid-flight towards the barrier. Shining armor was halfway on the ground, his horn glowing brightly with power as he tried to reinforce his shield. Twilight had lit her horn in an attempt to do the same, but it was too little too late. This Velvet knew with grim finality. She also knew that, judging from the angle of the pin, once it broke through the barrier, it would continue flying until it hit her daughter standing beside her. In that moment, she decided to do the bravest thing that she had ever dreamed of. Time slowly increased in speed. A millisecond after Sunset's spell was launched, Shining Armor's shield broke, and the stallion blacked out from the pain, tumbling into a heap on the ground. Half a second after that, the pin would have flown through Twilight Sparkle with enough force to obliterate the mare. But Twilight Sparkle was no longer standing where she was a few seconds ago. In her place stood her mother, fearless and without regret. Her hooves were on the shoulder of her daughter, shoving her out of the way. Panic flooded through Twilight's mind, and her spell fizzled. She looked back as she fell, her eyes catching her mother's the moment before the golden tag hit. In those eyes, there was peace. Peace and an apology. Her lips moving to whisper,
I love you.
one last time. But she didn't get the chance. For an instant later, the spell flew through Velvet's and obliterated the lungs that she would have used to speak those three words. Then, time went back to normal all at once. Twilight Velvet's body flew into the wall in two distinct pieces, her only saving grace being that her heart and spine were destroyed in an instant. So to her, there was only a pinch, and then nothing. Shining Armor was already in the sweet embrace of unconsciousness and didn't have to see that particularly brutal moment. However, Twilight Sparkle was not graced with sweet oblivion quite yet. At that point, raw mana and directionless spells poured out from the enraged unicorn's horn, forming into a great mass of purple that shot at the golden unicorn. Sunset Shimmer was hardly able to throw up a shield before the veritable wall of destruction would have vaporized her. The enraged unicorn screamed harder at her vengeance being denied and poured on more power, bringing her incredibly large reserves of magic to bear for the first time in her life in an attempt to simply overwhelm the other unicorn. Everything caught within the 6x6 foot blast was obliterated. The house buckled under the sudden redistribution of weight, but didn't fall. Yet. The flow of power suddenly cut off, and the lanky unicorn stumbled. The sudden shock of so much mana leaving her body pushed her dangerously close to joining her brother in unconsciousness. Meanwhile, her lambda system began to desperately pull in whatever mana it could in an attempt to refill Twilight's nearly empty reserves. She panted, watching as the shimmering sphere of golden magic disappeared to reveal a completely unharmed unicorn mare beneath it. Twilight's mind whirled. She had just obliterated half of her own house to kill that psychotic mare and still wasn't able to do the job. Thinking quickly, Twilight suddenly asked,
Why does Celestia want me dead? Keep talking, Twilight. Just keep talking until your magic has healed itself and you can hit her again. You're a necromancer.
The mare replied simply.
Necromancy is impossible! Oh, tisk tisk, Twilight. Some would say that living without a nervous system was impossible too. But yet, here you are.
The other mare recoiled as if slapped.
Yes, I know about your little condition, and I know that it only got worse as you grew older. You shouldn't be able to move, or even breathe. But yet, here you are.
The mare waved a hoof at Twilight's body.
And necromancy isn't impossible, just really, really difficult, and only able to be learned by a select few.
Twilight's heart fell in her chest.
Wait, you don't mean... Oh yeah, you can learn the magic of the soul. Oh, and to top it all off, you gave that old bitch the silent treatment for an entire day, and that's usually enough to earn a quick death.
The golden mare smirked.
Keep her talking, Twilight, just a few more seconds. Why are you here? I thought you were killed by the guard 5 years ago. Ugh, blah blah, my patience is running thin. And I have only one last thing to say to you, which you'll be surprised to know is actually a compliment.
The golden mare smirked when she noticed the panic on the other pony's face.
Your spell use was impressive. Your overcharge of Mana Bolt was simple and elegant, easy to cast and just as easy to dump more power into. I like it. You know another good spell that's simple but can be used quite elegantly? Telekinesis.
The mare's smirk grew into a huge wolfish grin as her horn lit with power.
What?
Twilight's confusion melted into pain, and the power gathering at her horn disappeared into nothing as the tightness erupted in her chest. She looked down in horror to see the faint outline of golden magic radiating from within her body.
With telekinesis, I can grab your heart and hold it like I am right now, stopping you from doing anything and making your body utterly panic without killing you.
The tightness increased threefold, and Twilight's legs fell out from under her.
Or I can give it a gentle squeeze and pop it like a grape. Like this.
The tightness quintupled, and the lanky unicorn was vaguely aware of a faint popping sound in several panicked seconds before oblivion took her. Her last thoughts before death were of her mother. Then, there was nothing. The lavender corpse tumbled to the side, its dead weight carrying into an uncoordinated heap. The golden unicorn smile faltered.
Damn it. I should have said something like, and I always loved making wine, or something like that.
She shrugged.
Ah well, time to dispose of the body.
She looked around at the ruined home and noted the fires all around the blast hole surrounding her.
Well, I can't use the botched raid excuse.
She paused and tapped her chin.
I could just leave him here and maybe knock down the building.
Suddenly, the mare growled.
But the bitch did say that this one was the only one allowed to die.
She angrily kicked the purple corpse. A sigh escaped her lips and she cast a glance at the splattered remains that had been Twilight Velvet mere moments ago.
She's gonna have a bitch fit about that. Oh well, back to work.
With a flash of magic, the unconscious colt at her hooves was gone, appearing a moment later in the exact spot his father had been mere moments before. The familiar guard was ready and awaiting to prepare him for the same treatment his father was undergoing right at that very moment. Next, she gathered up the pieces of Twilight Velvet and cast the spell that made the flames licking at the house to suddenly roar to life.
That should take care of that, but what about you?
Suddenly, the mare's eyes flew open.
I got it! You accidentally unleashed an enormous blast of magic that killed your mother and knocked out your family. Then, in a grief-stricken panic, you fled into the hills in the middle of the night and then drowned yourself. And I was there, trying to help because I saw the fire.
With a grin and a flash, the lavender corpse and the golden mare were gone. A millisecond later, at the edge of Canterlot, the corpse and the mare appeared. Below them was a cliff, and below that ran the deep, quick-running Canter River. The golden mare stopped and levitated the corpse before her. The corpse's cold eyes stared into her live ones, making her feel that much more alive.
That was pretty good, but not good enough. Maybe in the next life you'll bless me.
Then, without another moment wasted, she tossed the corpse over the cliff. It spun end over, pinwheeling through the air until it landed with a splash in the river below.
Perfect.
Then the golden mare was gone, and so too was the corpse 2 seconds after that, carried away by the powerful current. Sunset Shimmer thought her victory complete, and when Celestia got word, she would believe the same. However, Sunset Shimmer's arrogance was born of ignorance. To her, there would be no surviving what had happened to Twilight Sparkle, and she was partially correct. Celestia's arrogance was born of a belief that she could truly stamp out an entire branch of magic. But she forgot the very first law of magic. Magic cannot be destroyed. Several miles away from Canterlot, a corpse tumbled gracelessly down a river, tossed around by the uncaring current. A current that threw the corpse into a hidden tributary surrounded by the branches of several fallen trees. Trees that marked the entrance to the wildwood of the Everfree. Now, instead of simply washing up on the shores of Lake Canter in a couple of days, the corpse was bound for a destination few knew of and even fewer still spoke of. Ponyville was not a name mentioned in polite conversation. It was one whispered in hushed conversations, followed by a quick sidelong glance to see if anyone else heard. The cursed town that had been swallowed by the Everfree was rumored to be inhabited by everything from demons to vampires to the lingering dead, damned to walk the earth forever for the sin of siding with a cursed sister. Twilight in life had cared nothing for these rumors or conjectures, but in death? Well, that would change. The corpse, now on slower currents, drifted lazily down the hidden tributary, deeper and deeper into the Everfree. Though damaged by its fall and subsequent travel down the river, it still vaguely resembled Twilight Sparkle. Though a chunk of her mane and most of her tail were missing due to getting caught on a stray branch, and a few parts had taken particularly nasty hits by a few sharp rocks, it still undeniably looked like the corpse of Twilight Sparkle. Most importantly above all that, the corpse still contained the overactive lambda system that had guided the development of her entire life. A system that was strangely enough still operating and pulling in ambient mana, feeding into the mare's ruined body. This system was powerful, and with it suddenly being drained the way it was, it had sucked up nearly every drop of ambient mana it could get a hold of, including Twilight Sparkle's very soul. However, even that was not enough to bring the mare back to a state of unlife, for it needed one more ingredient. An ingredient that fate had decided to give her in the form of a tumble into the unknown waters of the Everfree. Now within the twisting and chaotic forest, Twilight Sparkle's soul-fed lambda system drank greedily at the font of wild magic that permeated the forest, gorging itself on the veritable buffet of powerful magic that flowed into it from every direction. Within minutes, it had grown fat with the potential mana of the soul as well as the chaotic magic of the forest. There, they mixed into a strange type of energy that was the stuff of assumption and legend. A type of energy that would give rise to a type of being Equestria had not seen in nearly a millennium. A twitch came from the corpse, then another, and then another. Then, a lavender hoof reached out of the water and gripped the mud-slick riverbank. Holy shit, that was a long frickin' chapter. But the introduction was just phenomenal. And I absolutely love the twists between the character settings and other little details here and there. Overall, I frickin' love it. Now let's get on to our survivalists of donators. Top donators: TacoCat598, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing. Zar630, Strix, Raiden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Drake Lovedragon, Pastel Skies, Magazine, Crazy Killer 557, Dospo, Madman Stan, Delta Omega, Jack Hedge, RuneScyther9852, Hunter Norman, Stephen Bingham, McDoofus456, Dash of Evergreen, Ronnie Dragonwolf, Ponyman, Tal Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brother and Mordred, Ronin Wandering, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Scouchia, Leslie Prickett, Jordan Peterson, Crimson Kitten A9, Lightskin, Monster Kitty, Needs a Life, Milan Biahenek, and many more clever people. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.